call the fire department.
Yeah. You guys are getting really sick and tired of being called for cats to trees, but boy, do I have something for you.
Do I have something for you. Yeah.
You guys
ever
ever
seen an octopus in a fishing net before? This
No,
is
Siri, fuck off. God damn it. I didn't catch that. Have you ever seen an octopus in a what?
Fishing net before, because this is similar.
Anyway, I'm in a lot of pain right now, so the sooner you guys could show up with some ketamine or something, I'd be really happy.
That'd be great. I would just like to not be on this planet anymore.
I want to dissociate.
Let's just say I need the rings away from Saturn. That's all I'm gonna say.
I want to, you know that God, I can't think of his name right now. Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra. That Frank Sinatra song where he's like, let's see what the evening's like on Jupiter and Mars. That's what I want.
Right. Candy bars.
Oh, Jesus.
And we'll leave the listeners to contemplate what exactly we're talking about, because right now we're going to shift gears to the Tire Preference Podcast.
Hey, we're back.
We're back
after a while. It's been a long time since we've graced you all with our voices, our screechy 40 grit
an explanation.
sandpaper. Yeah. Well, we'll give
3 weeks since we made fun of Lance Stroll, so
it's been too long since.
Too long.
I thought of a really funny nickname for him, but I can't remember it.
Moist Lip. Nancy.
Yeah, you said Moist Lip.
Oh, Moist Lip.
You know what we need to do also? We need to get on and figure out what Nicholas Latifi's doing right now, because God, I'm sure he's fucking something up somewhere.
He's probably living under a rock.
He's fucking pushing carts at his dad's grocery store, and they're like, "Aren't you?" With like a mustache, like, "You look like Nicholas Latifi." He's like, "Yeah, I know."
He's starting a grocery cart racing league.
Yeah, he pushes the shopping carts into someone's car.
He's got a YouTube stream thing where he races on Formula One video game. But
he races his Logan Sargent. Then he just finishes the game. It's like, Nicholas Latifi, world champion.
He changes
the game system.
Changes Logan Sargent's name to Nicholas Latifi.
One tier of happiness. Come on, son, it's time to go to work.
Yeah. Dad, aren't you proud of me? I'm the world champion. You
clean up an L9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, son. When are you gonna wake up from them dreams of yours?
Right. Now go clean up the fucking fart that the old man launched it down his Bermuda short leg and got all over aisle 6.
We got baby puke on aisle 5, and Mrs. Johnson's gonna fucking slip in it again if you don't hurry it up.
It's a real splatter job.
Fucking take the new guy over there. You're gonna need backup.
But maybe let him drive the squeegee mobile.
Yeah, it's a red flag situation, if you will. It's funny.
Funny, huh?
No, Mikey, no.
Keep away from the Red Bull, please.
Yeah, he's just running around. He just fucking punches holes in all the Red Bull cans.
Just shakes them all up, so the next person that buys one gets either a flat Red Bull or just Red Bull in the face.
Yeah, he's putting the cans on the shelf. He just sees Max Verstappen's face. It's like,
fucking Max Verstappen.
Fucking.
What a weirdo.
He's threatening to quit F1 now.
He is threatening to quit F1.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
But all right, hold on. Introduce ourselves.
There's
procedures here.
Sometimes you gotta let me, I got the segue coming up, and you cut me a little short.
Well, that's because the segue might be at the end of the podcast on the last break. You go, oh fuck, we never introduced ourselves.
No, I know what I'm doing.
All right.
I have faith.
Faith in Jake.
Faith in Jake.
Okay.
Carry us forward.
And with
Jake.
that, again, welcome to the Tire Preference Podcast. It's been a while. I'm Jake, as they just said. I'm here with Tyler.
Hi.
And Dave.
Hey, doody.
And we're here to talk to you about F1 stuff.
Can that be your new tag thing? And Dave's here. Hey doody.
I was gonna say hey and howdy doody, and
like fucking Ned Flanders.
Yeah. Hey doody Dave here doing howdy stuff. Yeah. We're going to look at cypress trees today. You want to come along?
Okay. Anyway, so
Yeah.
what we're going to talk about today. It's been a while. It's been a while, so we got a lot to talk about, and we'll probably forget to talk about all of it because that's kind of how we roll
That's
here.
our style.
We are ADD incarnate. So we're going to talk about the Australian GP because that was the last race that happened, and boy, oh boy, was it a bit of a news.
Yeah, it was a kind of a clusterfuck.
I know. I had it was the first F1 my friends watched. F1 race my friends had watched in a while, and they were like, kept texting me like, "Have you watched the race yet? Have you watched the race yet?" I'm like, "No." And I know there's a lot you guys want to talk about, so give me a minute.
Yeah, we're going to talk about someone potentially leaving the sport. We're going to talk about a corporation coming to the sport. We're going to talk about some news. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of being an F1 fan because there are definitely some things you shouldn't fucking do as a fan.
Man, the land down under went nuts at the end of the race.
Yeah,
I'm not even
they
talking
did.
about that. I'm talking about something else.
Oh, shit.
I'm
Well, we can
fucking
cover that a
talking-
little bit too.
Yeah, I want to cover that.
And yeah, then we'll just, you know us. We'll get off on a couple of tangents. We might throw a fun voice in there. So we'll see how she goes.
Yeah, Dave, you got that black and white flag ready? Because you're gonna need it, buddy.
You're gonna need it.
I don't know. It might have been lost in a lot of the moves. Oh, nope, there she is.
Does
I
those,
mean,
like,
are you really? You're not really
Roman-
packing up stuff. You're just kind of locking your door and driving.
No,
No,
but-
but we do have to like secure things inside so things get moved around but we
Yeah,
still
it's
have old
not
black and
anything in
white
your
here.
background. It looks exactly the fucking same. The only thing that's different is what
That's,
we can see out the window.
That's because Annie's the magic worker. I set up outside, she comes in here and fixes it and makes it house again.
I gotta say, her continuity is
Yeah,
spot on. Very
yeah.
well done.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
TV shows and movies that could take advice from her.
Right?
Yeah.
Babe, you're
could
you're getting praise over here. Yeah, she said thing. You do a good job of keeping this looking nice.
Hey, you do a real good job of cleaning.
Because it always looks the same, even though we've moved a bunch of times.
You might want to clarify that before you end up having to sleep on your pull-out couch.
No, you do a good job cleaning, babe.
Is that a box of Boneyard IPA over there?
Fuck yeah, dude. So we're moving soon, and I drank this case of beer, and Kristen's like, "Well, you save a lot of money buying it from Costco, so you should do it that way." And then I was like, "Hey, I got us a moving box, and I'll work on another one." And I don't think that's quite what she thought I meant by getting more moving boxes, but
Hey,
Just say I'm working on it. I'm
I'm working on it. I'm working here.
I'm drinking over here. Speaking of drinking, what are you guys drinking? Because we are so we're a drink along podcast. Drink something with us. We're here, buddies, talking about F1. We want you to join us. Now,
unless you're a recovering alcoholic, have
if
a
you're a
water,
recovering
Gatorade,
alcoholic,
something.
then, yeah, Gatorade, sparkling water, a tea,
Eat some crackers.
something
whatever you need.
non-alcoholic, yeah.
But if you're driving, crack one open. Let's roll.
But so I've heard here in Missouri that the law on open containers is pretty lax. If you got an OC in the car and you're tugging on it and you get pulled over for being an idiot and they breathalyze you and you're over the legal limit, you go get arrested. And you're going to get an open container. If you get pulled over and you have an OC in the car and you're not over the legal limit and they think you can drive well, then they just send you on your way.
I don't
So
know.
all this
if I
time we've
would
been
chance
driving
that.
around your godforsaken state,
So-
I could have been drinking road sodies in the back seat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
well, I
don't
know
know
in
if that's
St.
like-
Louis County, I think you can because, like, we would always cross the bridge, and then people in the back seat would open them up. We would be on our way to a baseball game.
Yeah, but
That's
that's the other
fucking
thing. Is
awesome.
open containers are allowed in the car if the driver doesn't have one. That's also what I've heard.
Mm-hmm. That's the way we
Basically,
always
if
planned it,
there's
but we never
any
got pulled over to really test it either.
If there's
Yeah.
any excuse to drink or any way they can work drinking into something, St. Louis is going to do it.
That's true.
Well, yeah, it's their favorite pastime in St. Louis is drinking. It's how
Yeah,
you
man.
can like accept living in such a godforsaken state.
Right? That's how you
Yeah.
accept the fact that you live there.
Yeah.
They
You
have
know.
the second biggest Mardi Gras celebration in the country.
That's
second
true.
To New Orleans, just
That's so weird to
because
me.
they consume as much alcohol as Bourbon Street does. Except it's not one street; it's the entire state.
I always think back to the Fairly Odd Parents when Timmy Turner wished himself into a book, and it was Huckleberry Finn, I think it was.
It was.
And it's just like he's like, hey, we'll have a frowning competition. He's like, I'm from Missouri. Frowning's a state sport. And then he's like, in Missouri, we got a saying, which is, I ain't going back to Missouri.
They wanted to send it back to his book, and he's like, I ain't going back to Missouri.
Yeah, it's like that's our saying in Missouri.
No, the state motto is the "Show Me State."
Yes, it is.
Show me another place to live.
Show
Exactly.
me yeah.
Show me a way out of here.
Show me where there's more beer.
Yeah, show me a means to an end. So anyway, what are we drinking? Well, I know you guys saw the Boneyard box in the background.
Boneyard.
And I am drinking a Fort George Franzine IPA.
Hey, that sounds delicious.
Franzine, huh?
Which I also got from Costco.
Oh,
Costco's good. They've upped their game with some of their shit, man.
Yeah. This motherfucker back here was 24 beers and it was $31.
I'm gonna say I got like a variety pack, like a 24 pack. Annie's mom got me, and I don't know what they were called, but they were a variety pack of IPAs and shit. It was so good.
Kirkland.
Yeah. Probably all Kirkland, yeah.
Kirkland Light.
Yeah.
Kirkland Lager.
Kirkland double hazy IPA.
Kirkland Oktoberfest, and it's just a hot dog with like some fucking pumpkins and shit around it.
Some pepperonis on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Pepperoni hot dogs.
What you sipping on there, Jacob?
Why doesn't Costco sponsor an F1 team? That'd be fucking hilarious. Like their whole budget, like they wouldn't exceed the budget thing as far as food goes because they always have cheap hot dogs, soda, and pizza.
They got pallets.
Well, then they check the receipt after everyone leaves the paddock.
Yeah, no shit. There's somebody standing there that's like signing off on their little card.
What are they even? They're not circling shit. Someone told me that like, oh, they check it to make sure you didn't ring out twice. I'm like, they did not fucking.
No, they're checking to see if you got anything on there that you didn't pay for.
I'm making sure that I spent enough.
Yeah, and it's you already paid for. You asked them at the door, "Can I come into your store?" And then they're like, "Yeah, you can go shopping." And then you pay them, and then it's, "Can I leave your store now?
Can I be in your club? Can I be allowed back to your club?"
Yeah, and then you have to walk through the parking lot without losing your fucking mind because it's the Costco parking lot.
Chaos.
And everybody there, my theory is that everyone in Costco's parking lot is there hell-bent on ruining somebody else's day.
So here's something else I don't like about Costco is I am tired. I'm
How
sick
are we on
and tired.
Costco right now?
We are. Just let it happen. Look, it's been a long time since we've been able to turn off.
Get it out.
Yeah, we should do a Patreon podcast and just call it the rant.
The rant.
Right?
The tangent.
Yeah,
that'll probably get more fucking views and listens.
No, I'm tired of getting fucking impulse buy shamed by all the Costco employees. Like if I'm in line to check out and there happens to be a 5-pound jug of cashews and I put it in my cart, I don't want to make eye contact with someone giving me the glare from across the fucking room. You put it here to get impulse buy, and you're gonna fucking judge me for buying a 5-gallon thing of cashews?
Dude, who doesn't love fucking
yourself.
cashews?
Yeah,
I take a 5-gallon bucket of cashews.
I love cashews, but I looked at where they came from and I don't know if I like them anymore.
Where do they come from?
Well, they come from some fucking tree growth, and it looks like the secretion from the tree growth that is petrified. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, look it up. Google where do cashews come from.
Well, they taste delicious. I don't really give a shit. As long as it doesn't come out of a horse's ass, I'll eat them.
It looks like it looks like calcified pus out of this thing. They harvest this. But it's so good.
They're just tree cysts. They're just fucking hardened tree cysts. So anyway, Dave,
let's get. Well, so I'm drinking Sierra Nevada Big Little Thing IPA. It's an Imperial IPA, and it's pretty decent. I've had to really just embrace the IPA culture because that's the only beers you can buy now are lagers and IPAs.
And Dave, what are you drinking?
Voodoo Ranger.
Ooh.
At least
Which is
one of
also
my
an
go-tos.
IPA.
Great for
Also
people
an
of all
IPA.
ages. Yeah, it's also IPA.
Yeah, they were really thinking of 5-year-olds.
Well,
They came up with that.
If your baby not taking a nap, give him a couple of drops of Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA.
Do you have a real
Well-
rough day in elementary school? You need a Voodoo Ranger.
Voodoo Ranger.
Yeah.
This can fits all hands.
Yeah, exactly.
It is skinnier.
All right, gents.
Any
Let's
tall
get to
can's
it.
a short
So,
can if you're
we
brave
have
enough.
it's been a while since we've gotten together to talk about Formula One, and I
We
feel
have not
like
done it yet.
the few listeners we have need to get. They deserve to know why. I always want to know why people take a large hiatus when they're making stuff on YouTube and all that stuff. So
Yeah, we owe you
Let's-
all an explanation.
So it kind of happened.
They've got
really
arrested.
I
No,
did.
so-
It got,
Sorry.
it really happened kind of suddenly. I think the week after we recorded our last podcast, I think I want to say Tyler had something going on, and then we were gonna try and reschedule, but at the same time Dave was moving out of the Keys, and so we were all just like, look, just get your shit together. Because moving can be stressful, and especially if you're a nomad.
Also, we were in places like every stop along the way, we didn't have really internet, and we didn't get our
Right.
Starlink until we got back in St. Louis. So,
Well, and why don't you go ahead and tell the viewers like how long of a drive you actually had?
okay, well, we're still not done. We started from the Keys, obviously, and we left. Took a day's drive up to north of Miami, stayed there the night, drove up to near Macon, Georgia, stayed there the night, drove. Where the fuck did we stay? Somewhere in Tennessee. Stayed there for the night.
Chattanooga.
No, we weren't in Chattanooga.
What?
We were in some Gainesville. I don't know, someplace.
Iowa,
no.
Gainesville, Iowa.
Nah.
Yeah.
But anywho, then we
Gainesville,
made it
Florida.
back home.
You went north, then back south.
We made it back home. Spent about a little less than a week back in St. Louis with what we turned out to be hopefully a good stress-free weekend or week turned out to be like family-filled events. Clarksville, Tennessee. It was a distillery.
I was close.
Forgot about
Ooh, that's
that.
pretty
Ooh,
cool.
yeah.
Well, they were closed. when
Wasn't
we
the
got there,
plan.
so-
We just had too many drinks at dinner, and luckily we tell our home everywhere. So
yeah.
Right.
So yeah, now
Well,
anyway. What was I talking about? Oh, the lengths of our drive.
yeah, where are you at now?
Well, now we're in Colorado, so it was another 3-day drive from home to Colorado, which we're in Silt, right by where we were last summer. I feel
Right.
home. I love it here.
And so for any of you that are not, geographically inclined, basically Dave was in the Keys in Florida, and the I think the easiest way I could describe it as everyone else, it's like the pre-goop coming out of the cock. It's just kind of dripping there.
Jesus
Or like the last
Christ.
couple of sprinkles of the pee, it's just kind of coming out the tip of the Miami. And then
And
he
I was
moved-
all the way down at the end of those.
yeah up at the end of those. So
End of those drips. I was like the first drip.
the first drip drop. Yeah, you are staying inside of someone's underpants.
Pretty much.
Spending too much
That's what I felt like.
time-
I am so glad to be out of
Yeah.
Florida. Fuck you,
too
Florida.
much time on an airplane watching.
That's how you're explaining what the Keys are to Florida.
I mean,
The
how
cum,
off-
the
I'm
cum
nothing
drips of
off.
Florida, yeah,
I'm
man.
not off
That's what it
the
felt
cum
like.
drips of Florida.
Look at the
All the
cum
nuts
drips.
roll downhill. That's what they say. It's a common thing people say about Florida. The nuts roll down to Florida.
I mean, it makes sense. There's this.
Dave is a nut that rolled out of Florida and ended up on the underwear stain on some celestial underwear. So he then drove up the shaft a wee ways.
Florida's
And then
fucking
ended
huge,
up-
dude. It takes a day and a half almost to get the fuck out of Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
So we were gonna try and do a podcast with him and I in the same room, but
Oh, yeah.
if anyone has ever moved away from home and then was back at home for no matter the period of time, you know that it's never really a vacation because you are fucking busy visiting everyone that you've ever met in your entire life.
Yeah. Although it did suck. We didn't get a chance to meet up and do that podcast. I did have a blast hanging out with my niece and nephews on the trampoline.
Trampoline.
Oh yeah.
Dude, we bounced on the trampoline for hours. It was great.
Yeah, and now David's in Colorado, right?
Yep. We are in Colorado. We are fucking back home, it feels like, man. I miss the mountains so much.
Yeah, the mountains are nice.
It's like we passed Denver, got into the mountains, and it was like we both felt like, oh, we're home.
Well, welcome back to the mountainy regions.
Yeah, it's good to be in this time zone again, too. It's not too
Yeah,
late
I'm,
right
I'm now the last time zone again. So
Yeah,
fuck you guys.
Dave's not podcasting at like 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
I know. Yeah, that did suck. I mean, it was okay, but it's not like my job was hard the next morning, but it was always like I was waking up with a slight hangover going into work.
Yeah.
Nothing new there.
Yeah. But yep, we're here for now. We're gonna be in Utah for a week, and then we'll be up in Northern California,
Awesome.
where it's still snow ridden. Hopefully that shit'll melt by the time we get there, man.
Yeah, probably not. I think they said some of the ski resorts in California were going to stay open into the summer.
Holy shit.
Well, if the fucking
Yeah.
roads are clear, that'll be fine. I don't give a shit.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sure the
there was-
roads will be clear.
I got snow gear.
Yeah, it's the side of the roads and it's the snow wall you're going to be driving next to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like something like hundreds of inches over like a year's worth. That's like over the winter. It was like crazy amount of snow.
Yeah.
Like a year's worth in one winter.
Yeah, it's usually how winters work.
No, I mean like 2 winters worth, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like the percentages. There's pictures of like people at ski resorts and they're standing next to the rollers on the tops of the
lifts.
the top of the ski lift. Yeah, the top of the lifts. And
Yeah, they're
"Oh,
like
yeah, for
right up there
context-
with it.
for
Yeah.
context, here's the same picture in the summertime, and it's like 40 feet tall.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
a lot of
Yeah.
you got dumped on, but that's good for like preventing forest fires and shit. Hopefully this summer.
Only
A
you
lot
can
of,
prevent
lot of
forest
wet
fires.
ground and or
Yeah.
wet ground and green and yeah. Hopefully everything. will.
Oh,
But who knows?
yeah. Well, they're kind of they're pivoting away from the whole only you can prevent forest fires, at least in Canada, and it's like now how do you like? It's not like only you can prevent it. It's like something else they're going for. So they have a new thing, and it's Sparky the Fox. Basically, in Canada, they turned Smokey the Bear into a furry.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Neat.
So, you guys want to talk about F1 now?
Yeah.
Wait,
black
so,
flag,
hold
black
on.
and white's coming up. We're doing
Is
it.
it's Sparky
F1.
the Fox.
It's like Sparky
In-
Fox or some
In
shit
England,
like
it's
that.
Smacky the Frog.
Yeah, Smacky the
is.
Frog. In Russia, Gregor the don't fuck with the forest.
What I like about them calling it Smacky the Frog is they refer to crack as smack. And so it's like Smacky the Frog. It's Cracky the Frog.
Cracky the Frog. So I when you said Sparky the Fox, the first thing I was thinking was Firefox, the internet browser. I think that's
It's
already
not like far off, but it is what it is.
in Australia, they have Badge of the Cunt.
All right. On that note, that was the
They'll
king.
fucking
F1 it
eviscerate
is
you
now.
if you set a fire in the bush.
That's the best one. No other one's gonna be
That's the
funny.
best one.
Moving
That was
on.
my segue. That was my segue into the Australian GP. Badge of the Cunt.
Yeah, Badge of the Cunt, preventing forest fires.
Preventing bushfires.
He's got a can of Foster's, like, he's like wearing fucking like cut off dungarees.
And a mullet.
Good day, mate.
Jesus.
You starting a fire over there? You better not,
Uh,
because I'll
Wendy's
mash your balls.
hotter
Ah,
than a cunt this time of year.
No, the Australian GP. It was a fucking shit show, wasn't it, guys?
Fucking
it
A,
was a wild one for sure.
So Dave had said something about watching highlights, so I tried to do the same thing because the race happened a little while ago, and I did not. While I was watching the highlights, it took until the first red flag for me to realize that I was in fact watching the 2023 Australian Grand Prix because it starts and like Lewis Hamilton takes the lead. You're like, okay, Hamilton the lead. Yeah, or like whatever year it was. Because like, all right, Hamilton takes the lead, Verstappen's right behind him, a Ferrari goes off track. Like, all right, I've seen this before. What year is this? And it was like, oh, Alex Albon crashed out and he's in a Williams and it's blue. Oh, yeah, okay, it's 2023. Got it.
Yeah, it was well, like the first lap even there was contacts, there was
there was a Ferrari off the track.
yeah.
It was
Who'd
so
he hit?
fucking
Was it DeVries?
He hit the
I think it
brakes
was-
too hard. And
Or he hit
I think
Ocon
that's-
or somebody.
I think it was Science. No, it wasn't Science. It was
No, that
Stroll.
happened later. I don't know. Did he hit anyone? I think he just like locked up.
I don't know.
and quit.
All I wrote down was
No,
fuck Leclerc.
There was contact with somebody, and I forgot who it was.
That was your note, was just fuck Leclerc.
So look, I told the guys earlier I'm doing the challenge where I'm watching every race live, and Australia was a bit of a toughie, and
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to stay like I was doing something like earlier that day, and I was doing some day drinking, and I was like, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta like have a Red Bull. I gotta have some water. I gotta like sober up. But
Have
then
a
the race
nap.
happened, so I'm like, I need to open a beer for the race, and yeah, I was watching the race. I'm pretty sure I dozed off for like 5 laps, and then I came back. But it was really difficult, and so all of my notes are like these like slightly inebriated, very tired. I doodled on the side of my notes. That's how fucking much attention I was paying.
Yeah, it was probably during the red flag period.
I drew this drawing on it that I can only describe as like what Foghorn Leghorn would look like if you took too much acid.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So we had the Australian GP at Albert Park. It's a 3.2 mile long circuit with 4 DRS zones, which is super duper fun.
It is fun, yeah.
And Checo
And
started from the pit. Is that right?
Yeah, him and Bottas.
Him and Bottas. Okay, that explains my notes. My
Him and
note
Bottas
says-
both started from the pits. I forgot about that until you said something. But yeah,
My-
they both started from the
My
pits.
note says Checo starts from pit, and then I wrote Bottas with a long squiggly arrow to the word from. I was like, what was I thinking?
That's funny. Oh, this is gonna be great trying to decipher your notes as we do the podcast.
Photographer over here fucking
yeah, no shit. It's
deciphering.
like it's like when they get Charlie Kelly's notebook and it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
It
They're
really
trying to
is.
figure out
What
what
is
he means by
chicken
everything.
pants? What is that?
Yeah, it's- he got you a worm hat.
I fucking love when he comes into the bar and he sees everything and he's like, what's going on here? You know, like what's all this stuff? These are all my dreams incarnate. The worst part is like I remembered like shortly after the race started I didn't have a fucking pen. So I tried to pause it, but I was like, you can't pause a live race. I mean you can, but like, why would you? So I ran into the office and like I just dug my hand into the pen box and I pulled one out and it's like this pastel-y, sparkly blue. Where were we? Yes. Leclerc went off on like turn.
Well, so it was
3 or
a
something.
great first. Like everyone got to a good start. Max and Russell were really good off, and then Russell took the fucking lead and had like he had the lead for a few laps. He did really well, and then he got hosed.
Yeah,
he did get
then
hosed pretty
he
good.
thought, okay, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna pit and I'm gonna get tires.
Well, he came
And
in
it's-
on a what was it, a safety car, but then like right after he came in, there was a red flag, and then everybody just came in and he lost track
Yeah,
position.
He got
Yeah.
fucked. From
Yeah,
the safety
he got
car. I mean,
fucked.
that'll happen.
Yeah. So you're like, oh man, I hope he can come back for this. I hope he can have a good day.
Yeah, what was it,
Um,
lap 17?
Yeah, yeah, fairly
Nope.
shortly after that, his car like got a bit of an afterburner on it and caught fire, and then he was out.
Yeah, it was right in front of the pit wall too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
well,
so.
yeah, that.
Yep.
Wait, who caught fire again?
Russell.
George Russell.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he had a EU failure and yeah, caught fire.
Yeah,
He
so
was
that
able
was
to pull it to
actually
a
so that
stop
was a
right
little
at the end of
farther
pit lane.
along. That was like lap 18 that Russell caught fire.
17.
I just had turned to lap 18. He was on lap 18 because he passed the go finish
He
line.
Well,
Start
he
finish line.
passed as he was on fire.
Right, but he stopped on lap 18. If we're being real,
The damage
But,
happened
yeah,
at
because
17.
because he caught on fire like 50 yards from the from like the fucking start finish line. Like
He caught on fire in lap 17 and killed it in lap 18.
so then he was out lap 18.
Shut up.
I'm
all
right.
right, fine, whatever.
So Alex Albon lap 7 had a bit of an off.
Oh yes, that was the whole reason for the red flag was
Yes, it was.
His off-roading.
His off-roading, his splatter of the gravel across the
Yeah.
track, which
And it wasn't-
started out originally as a safety car, the second one of the race on lap 7. So
Mhm.
Yeah, did you
That's
see
good.
Albon's like his off like when he went off it looked like it was like he just lost the rear end, like it wasn't a fault of his own, like something happened with the
Right.
car. But then when he went
Yeah.
off and he hit the wall and then he shot all those rocks off onto the track. I
No,
forgot
yeah.
who the next driver was, but he
I
went
think it
through
was
a fucking I think
Hulkenberg.
somebody went through a shower
It
of
was a
rock.
pink. It was either Gasly or Ocon, I think, went through, and
It would
then
be funny if it was like Grosjean and he broke his finger.
Right,
like
again.
no shit. Yeah. And then it was scary for Albon because his car came to rest like right on the racing line.
on the
there.
racing
Right.
line, yeah.
Mhm,
And it was a big
mhm.
cloud of dust, so it was hard to see.
So we get to the end of the first red flag period, and everyone we were doing our lap around the track, their kind of warm up lap, and then where Albon crashed, there was almost another crash before the race even restarted. Because all the cars started slowing down, and then you see everyone's slowing down, almost a wreck, and then I can't remember who it was, but they zipped through like right where Albon had crashed.
It was
went right through
Sonoda.
the I think it
Sonoda,
was
that's
Yuki. Yeah.
Yeah, Yuki Sonoda.
Jesus.
I
He's
saw
a
this
fucking
like
crazy
everyone's
bastard.
just like stopping, backing up, and there's like more cars coming around. I was like, this is not gonna be good. And then you see
Yeah.
Yuki go off into the rocks. It's like, oh fuck, man. Let's move this along. This is dangerous. Why is everybody stopping?
Yeah, no shit. Anyways, that was almost crazy.
Did
but
they
it
ever get to
wasn't,
the
so-
bottom of that? Like, why was everybody backed up like that right there?
I
It's
don't
probably
remember
just like
everything.
people just being slow, being dumb. Because
Yeah.
sometimes what they'll do is they'll slow down and then they'll speed up to
Well, it's like they never even
heat the
gave like a
tires.
replay to see what like caused the whole backup. They just showed that view of everybody just sitting there and then more
Right.
cars coming in with nowhere to go.
I think it's just because it was a bad spot. That's a really high speed area,
And it's kind of a
and then a
blind
bunch of people. And
turn.
I kind of I don't think you could see around that curve. So you have one car slowed, then everyone slows down. It's like see the same thing on the freeway, and people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh my
You don't
gosh,
get a
it's
lot of time to
McDonald's
see
time. I
what's
have to
coming
slow
in
down
on you.
really fast. Let's slow
Yeah.
down now." And then you have a 5-hour
The
traffic.
McRib is back. I gotta get off the highway
Yeah.
now.
Son of a bitch! I missed my exit.
So moving forward a little bit in the race, all the way to lap 54.
Man, that's damn near
K-Mag.
the end of the race.
Yeah.
K-Mag.
Oh, but that is the okay, yeah,
What?
that's the
K-Mag?
there wasn't a whole
K-Mag.
lot going on between. I mean there was, but there was.
There wasn't, and I think I fell asleep
now
a
I
little
know
bit.
what you're
but,
talking about.
Yeah, Kevin Magnussen out of the race.
Kevin Magnussen Fox smashed his wheel.
Yeah.
into
Well, what's
the
what's
wall.
crazy about that, he didn't even realize it. Like when he got on the team radio that they called in and said there was something wrong in the rear, and he said, what did he say? He didn't know what it was. And they're
Yeah,
like,
he
oh,
like-
it's a puncture, it's a puncture.
Yeah,
And
zoomed in
then-
on the tire.
Yeah. But then it was like his tire was gone. It was just
Yeah,
that
so
Jesus.
carbon fiber like brake cowling or whatever it is.
If you didn't know, the sidewalls on these F1 tires are very thin, so that's why you see a lot of punctures that will happen on the side, like from a wing or from a or whatever. You can run over a wee bit of debris if they're new tires and not worry about a puncture, but the sidewalls are like tissue paper. So
Yeah,
if
and
you
he
turn
kissed
from a
that wall
wall
hard.
too much, um, then I mean it's
How
gonna go
how
flat.
he
So
didn't realize that he hit the wall that hard is beyond me. Because like he hit it with enough force. I mean, it ripped the tire off, sent it flying,
Yeah.
and
denial,
he just kept on driving like it was like, oh, I'm losing power.
denial.
Like, yeah, your
Just
tire's gone,
Did
man.
he lose a rim too? Because I think it was just the tire that was rolling down the track.
I think it
Uh,
was just the tire that was rolling down the
yeah,
track.
all that
But
was left was like that carbon fiber, whatever brake
yeah,
housing.
Did they red flag it for that one too?
Yeah, because he ended up having to
Yes.
stop on the track, and they had to, well, not on the track, but
that
you
was
know,
That's
the
right.
second of the
Yeah.
day.
Well, and then they showed Nicholas. It was they cut to Latifi. I think it was in the same spot, and he spun out and managed to slide his car in the spin right to that spot that Kevin Magnussen had driven to.
Who did that?
It was Nicholas Latifi years ago.
Oh,
oh, we're doing
yeah,
flashback. Okay. I was like,
yeah,
wait,
I
he's
did.
not in
Yeah, I
there.
was like, yeah, he's not.
Yeah, no,
Like, Tyler,
they're
are you
not
feeling
calling
okay,
him.
bud?
Are you okay?
They're not calling him up anytime soon.
Yeah, no, he's done.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the second red flag of the day.
Yeah. And that was for Kevin Magnussen's crash, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Kevin Magnussen's crash.
it's like two red flags. You get one occasion, you know, fairly common, but two in a race is what's going on, guys? Everybody forget how to drive?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it gets worse than that. So we're talking like this was K Mag went out on lap 54 in a 58 lap race, and then they had a red flag on lap 55, and they were supposed to come back. So the idea was
Oh yeah, okay, I know.
We're gonna come back. we're gonna do a formation lap. We're gonna do a standing start. And we're gonna I think it was a standing start was the from the second one. We're gonna go, right? And we're gonna have one lap of racing, and then the race is pretty much gonna be over.
Mhm.
And then they did that, and
Oh my god, all hell
the
broke
fucking
And,
gates
yeah.
of chaos opened up, and Jesus fucking Christ, it was baby's first F1 race.
right?
Yeah.
You had Alpine's out. It looked like both the Aston Martins out.
Yeah, they had the Austin Martins. I think that was the first incident was going into the first turn, and it was Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso.
Yeah,
And
Carlos
Sainz
Sainz's front wheel clipped
Which was
Alonso's rear wheel and spun him around.
complete bullshit. Complete
Yeah,
bullshit.
racing incident, man.
100%
Yeah.
racing incident. That would have been a racing incident if it was any other time, any other fucking track. Complete and utter bullshit that he got that fucking penalty.
5-second penalty.
Which
Yeah.
we'll cover the penalty here in a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Cover the penalty here in a minute.
You had I don't know what sorry, it was a little while ago, but then you had like the next sequence of people going off the track. I think it was like you had Carlos Sainz went on, or not Carlos Sainz.
Yeah,
Stroll-
Sargent, DeVries,
Yeah,
and Ocon and Gasly.
Sargent
Yeah,
went into the back of DeVries, spun him around, and then Sargent went into the dirt or the gravel, and his race was done.
Right.
Yeah, but so did Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez went to the gravel also, I think.
But he was able to get out because
he was able to get out
ended up
pretty.
in
He
a good
finished
spot.
fifth. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he went. He must have just gone wide, and then Pierre Gasly coming back on the track after going off crashes directly into Esteban Ocon, his teammate, and it took
Yes.
them both off on the right side of the track. And then we had our third red flag.
Third red flag of the day. So the cars are on the pit, and here's like a kind of a fun,
Which I think is a
feel-good-
new record, right? There's been 2 red flags. I think this might be the first 3 red flag race.
I think that we've seen since we started doing this, but I feel like that they're.
I
I
thought
feel
I
like
saw
I'm
something that
pretty
said this
sure
was like
Canada
the very
was.
first 3 red flag race, but I could be wrong.
I think there was 3 red flags in whatever the first year they raced at Baku. The second year they raced at Baku, I think there was 2 or 3 red flags. That race was off the fucking chain.
Right.
Are you looking
But
something up,
because-
Jake?
Yes. Can you hear my loud fucking thing?
I hear the wheels grinding there.
So while Jake researches that, they came around. So this was then going to be a 2-lap race. They all made it around the track and back into the pits and crossed the start finish line. So now there's 1 lap left in the race.
Oh yeah, and that's what yeah. I forgot
Yeah.
about this little detail.
So then it was like it would have been really good. There would have been winners and losers either way if they had a couple options on the table. They could have called it and said we will go back to what the previous restart would have been, and that'll be the finishing order. And minus the 2 Alpines because they crashed themselves out. Which would have benefited Fernando Alonso. It would have benefited, like, it basically would have nullified that lap, so there wouldn't have been like any penalties or anything. But what they settled on was, no, we'll go out in the original starting order. We'll do the 1 lap behind the safety car, and then that's the end of the race. So everyone will have qualified. They will have finished the 58 laps for the race. And then there'll be no one can super pout about it. But we're gonna go back to what the starting grid was. So Fernando Alonso, who was like doing well, was he out of the points after he had spun out?
I think he was, and he was like, no, we need to go to what we were at before you, because he immediately got on the radio and said, think back to Silverstone last year, where we didn't even do 1 fucking lap, and we went back to the grid that we started on for that red flag because of the Zhao Guanyu crash. So he was like, look, this is where I started before the red flag. This is where I need to restart, which would have put him in a much better position, which it did. And so that's what he was arguing for a lot. And then
Jesus,
it was just so stupid. It's like what you said. You know, they're gonna go around, and there's no way you can finish the race under racing at this point because the safety car is gonna come in to the pits at the end of the lap. You're still under a safety car, quote unquote, conditions until you pass the start finish line.
Which would have been the checkered flag.
Right. 100%.
So that's what they did. They did a really weird last lap where they reshuffled everyone in the pit lane, and
one thing I wanted to talk
Alonso
about
was
the
just-
pit lane that I kind of liked was so Alpine had both their cars DNF, they couldn't finish nothing, and Alfa Romeo was having a problem with one of their generators to help with the cars while they were working on them, and Alpine gave them theirs to use.
Oh yeah,
Alpine
Oh,
said,
that's
"Hey,
very
give it to?
sporting.
Yeah, who'd they
very."
give it
Yeah, they get points.
to? Who'd they give it to?
Alpha Romeo.
Yeah.
Alpine. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I thought it was
that
too.
Yeah, great sportsmanship.
Great sports. I mean, I
we're
get
out.
it if you're not, you know, it's like if both your cars are in it, you got to work on your own shit first. But theirs were out, so they're like, "Hey, take our Jenny, man. You can have it."
I thought that was cool. I also liked Fernando Alonso when they're ushering him back up to the front, and then he's just got the tires behind him, like, okay, I'm gonna help.
Oh yeah, I know.
Don't look at me.
It's so fucking pompous.
And then so like that was like, all right, you saw so like the wholesomeness of Alpine or not Alpine, Alpine, sorry, helping out Alfa Romeo, and then you just felt like the crushing weight of when they were doing the cockpit like the team radio of Carlos Sainz finding out he's getting a 5-second penalty, which we had talked about earlier in the podcast. They gave him a 5-second penalty for his contact with Fernando Alonso,
Which is bullshit.
Horseshit.
Which, like,
Yeah.
all right, racing incident. All right, this was a while ago. I need to watch the tapes again to like really form an opinion on it. But
I just watched it. Racing incident.
because they were, because they were under he got a 5-second penalty. Now, under normal racing conditions, if they had a few laps, he could have built the gap out to 5 seconds.
Oh,
The car
100%,
behind him, he probably
yeah.
would've been fine.
Mhm.
But since they finished under a safety car, there was no space. Everyone was right behind each other. There was no distance. So he got a 5-second penalty and ended up finishing like dead last in the race because of it.
Mhm.
And it was
100%
just
dead last.
them telling him he's got a penalty and him realizing it is just kind of heartbreaking. Like, not gonna lie.
It was really hard to watch his reaction because you can like hear him getting emotional on the radio when I was watching it live, and then the camera's kind of far away, but I swear to God, you could almost see like his eyes focused on the camera, and then he shuts his visor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, fucking Ferrari is a cursed team right now.
It is a cursed team.
Yeah.
They
And I
cannot
did-
catch a break.
Side note,
They cannot
I-
find a break.
they can't. Well,
They're
they find a lot
searching in
of
the
breaks.
dark.
Yeah.
They find a lot of
They
breaks.
can't
they
find
find their
braking
shit breaking,
zones.
and
They
they're-
can't. Yeah.
They're fucking strategy breaks. They
Yeah.
can't
cars
catch a
break,
break in a good
The
way
driver's break.
at all.
Who's their
Real
new,
quick, I
what's the name of
did
their new
find
principal right now?
Vassar. I did find out that this is the first race in F1 history to have 3 red flags. So
I thought so. I thought that was
Yeah.
what I read.
yeah.
If I was Vassar, I would not buy a house in Italy. I would rent one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's already
Well,
got back
I mean,
problems.
hey,
so he's
it's-
popping a lot
it's-
of bikes this
What are
weekend.
we?
So
We're on that was our 5th race in Australia, or is it our 4th?
I don't know that was
like the third
that was like
race.
the 3rd race. So we
Yeah,
had
they've only
Fuck off.
raced in
Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Australia. That was the
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
3rd race.
I
It's
know.
like we're like 6 months into the season already.
Yeah, and we've still
been a lot
got
going on.
there's still
We still have
20
2
races
weeks.
to go.
We have 2 weeks until the next race.
And 20 fucking
Well,
races.
in
left.
2
races.
weeks I'll be in
No, we
California.
have
so.
19.
Oh, that's right. They dropped China.
They dropped China. So
Oh,
that's
they
why
did drop
we're-
China. That's right.
That's why there's a spring break now.
I know.
Next
we
race
would-
isn't for like 2
like,
fucking weeks.
Actually, this Saturday would have been this Sunday would have been the Chinese Grand Prix, but
No.
What was it? Their
Yeah.
COVID restrictions kept us out of there? Or?
yeah, those are COVID restrictions.
Other
and,
things,
I mean,
I don't
I'm
know.
sure they'll say humanitarian.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever the fucks. And I don't say that to sound like I care what's happening in China. I say that because every fucking country has a humanitarian issue, and we seem to be
Mhm.
able to race in them just fine. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. Well, I mean, they'll end up when they decide to invade Taiwan, they'll wipe.
they'll wipe
the thing off.
that's for a different podcast because there's a lot of stuff happening.
That'll
Yeah.
probably be the end of the Chinese Grand Prix, but they're thinking maybe Vietnam next year. Like, we might get to try that track we were supposed to try in 2020.
Oh, the city in Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah, in Ho Chi Minh City.
Well, what do they call it before?
Seoul? No, that's South
I think
Korea.
it was I think it was
Saigon.
It was Saigon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we be terrible people? and call it Saigon on the podcast?
the Saigon Grand Prix. I recognize it as Saigon Grand Prix.
I'll never
because my
recognize that as no
grandfather's
Ho
action.
Chi Minh fucking
Yeah.
communist leader city. No way, no how.
Mm, mm,
Mm-mm.
mm. And it was a neat looking track, but we'll see. I don't know. More news on that to come. They were kind of talking about it the other day, but not enough came out for me to like report
So
on it.
speaking
so-
of war, let's get to the attrition rate of this race
No.
because it
Oh,
was
yeah, it was
Oh,
disgusting.
yeah, Jesus Christ. If you finished in the top 12, like, yeah, Sainz finished 12th and he was
12th
still
and
dead last.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your so here I got
We
your
lost 8 drivers.
Australian GP finish thing, and we only had
Finish
12
thing.
drivers.
I love it. That's
Yeah,
the
the
name of it.
finish. The finish.
Now
whatever.
every time it's not the top 10. It's not. No, it's the
No.
finish thing.
Yeah.
This is not the top 10. This is the top fucking 7 DNF because we had 7 people DNF 8 people, sorry. So we have first off is Leclerc, who should have been
Mhm.
your rubber army The rubbers should have voted for
Yeah.
Leclerc.
Forgot
Yeah,
that
all
it's
you
the
skid
rubber
marks
army.
should have voted for Leclerc.
Yeah.
right
Skid
there.
marks. Should
The skid marks of the rubber army should have voted for that.
should have voted for that. So, set an alarm next time. Jesus Christ, get a hold of yourself. Albon was next, and then Russell, and then Magnussen, followed by Sargent, De Vries, Ocon, and Gasly.
Man, that's a lot of folk out.
That's a very high attrition rate. I don't think it's the highest, but it's definitely up there.
No, yeah, it's up there. That's almost half the grid gone.
That is almost half the grid.
Yeah.
I guess I can at the side of the coin that and tell you the top 10 finishers if you
Yeah,
want.
why not?
Yeah. Do you want to just do top 12?
Might as well just do top 12 since they're the only ones that finished.
All right,
so.
yeah,
just
you can do
top 12. Yeah, you gotta
No.
fuck over the last two people. Yeah. Fuck
Yeah.
you, Logan.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. No, he was out anyway. So
So, your top 10. I wanted to say should have been, but I will just say is your top 10 is first place comes for Verstappen, which I mean it's not really exciting anymore because he only finishes in first place where he gets angry at everyone and his numbers number one, his position number one, so he's held good. Hamilton out of nowhere, fucking 44 in second place, 2 4s get second place. I love that.
yeah, he had a great race.
Third place, Alonso, car 14. Austin C. Alonso on the
Questionable.
podium. Questionable. Unfortunate. Disastrous. We'll see.
Alonso in third place.
Well, I mean, fuck, Sainz should have had. Well, Sainz would have got fourth place. Really.
Well, in championship points, yeah, it was fairly
Championship
disastrous
points
for
are
signs.
and Ferrari needs them. Moving along, we have Whitlip in fourth place. We have Perez finishing in fifth. We have Norris finishing in sixth place. Hulkenberg coming in seventh for points. Piastri, one of the rooks, coming in eighth place for points. Zhao Guanyu, not a rook no more, coming in ninth place, getting points. And Sonoda finishing on your top 10. We got 2 more races that actually finished race because Jesus Christ, the attrition rate. Those are Bottas and Sainz, which is dumb.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry.
Sainz went from a fourth place finishing to a 12th place finishing because we finished under a red flag.
You know,
And
it's
he got
also
a
kind of like
bullshit penalty.
is also kind of shitty that to think about now that you just said it was Bottas started from the pits and he finished 11th.
11th.
Like he
Yeah,
did
above Sainz.
he did not progress at all in this race.
No, he really didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
the only reason
He was
able to
always
finish above
one step
Leclerc,
ahead
Albon,
of the people
Russell,
that were
yeah,
crashing.
No shit. Because he didn't. My
Yeah.
last note on this is this race is fucked.
Succinct. I love it.
Yeah. Unrelated to the race, but related to the way that you showed Nico Hulkenberg. Did you see it was a Haas Instagram post and it was the morning of the race and it was Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
No.
And he's just like, he's the one that started doing the Nico Hulkenberg. And he's like, he hates that.
He's like, yeah, he goes, he hates that. Make sure he sees it.
Fucking love Daniel Ricciardo.
Did you see that
this is
little promo they did with him racing the Red Bull fucking stunt plane or whatever?
No, I kept meaning to watch it, but I never did.
No, I didn't. Have
It
you
was-
seen?
It was pretty cool.
I don't know if it's dated or not, but someone had taken a picture and it was of one of those box 4-packs of Red Bull and it had Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo on it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about that last podcast.
That was like
actually.
right
It's
when
like-
Danny came back to Red Bull, and that was showing up in stores with those two
Yeah.
instead
It's
of
like a
Sergio
month. Yeah,
on
so
there.
if you're and then Sergio Perez, he had tweeted out like something at the end of this last race of like, oh yeah, no, we're doing great. Like I want to be champion. And then 20 minutes later,
that tweet was deleted.
tweet was edited, and the I want to be champion part was taken off of it.
Right.
Oh,
there's a
that's
huge
right. Yeah, yeah.
conspiracy theory about that.
So
Yeah,
I
so-
honestly I don't see Sergio sticking around with fucking Red Bull. I think they're gonna ditch him.
I bet he's a free agent at the end of the year. He might be somewhere else. I bet they.
But where does he go?
I bet you they
some other
that-
team has to fucking pick him up.
with a
I
team
bet-
like
I
Red
bet
Bull
if-
who's
so
so
I think-
social media and so marketing forward, they see Danny Rick as just money signs, and to have him as their other driver, is just dollar, dollar,
Well,
dollar.
what
All
kind of a
the
threat does that
sponsors he can
send
pull in.
Sergio Perez when you bring in a fan favorite who's already a good Red Bull driver? And they're like, why don't you do this? And he's like, well, I'm going to do this anyway and win races. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to bring Danny Rick in. We're going to put him in the blue suit again. And now you're like, okay, I can easily be replaced. So I guess if you want to talk conspiracy theory, I think Hamilton his contract ends this year, or was it next year?
I think
No,
he
I
was
think he's on.
24. Ended
Yeah, maybe this
24
year. Or this
or
year, next
whatever.
year.
I think
Well,
it's not this season. End of next season, he's free agent or whatever.
say
But I don't
leaves.
see him not re-signing with.
Wow, I don't
No,
know.
fuck no. He's got all
Eh.
kinds of energy. Like he's not out. He's not out anytime soon.
But just say he does.
No.
I don't want to.
They say
I wouldn't.
black don't
I
crack,
would
man.
not
He
be
ain't
surprised
putting.
if Perez jumps over to Merck.
I could see it. I mean, like
He might change
Mercedes.
teams. I don't see his career done, but he'd have. I don't. He's one of those
That
drivers that I don't see him going to a midfield team though.
I mean, no, he's been able to prove himself at Red Bull. Like, hey, I can be up front and win races.
He's very competitive.
The other thing that could be when's Leclerc's contract up? Because Leclerc might not want to re-sign with Ferrari.
He's done at 24 too.
24 also.
Yeah.
So that could be Perez could go to Ferrari. I mean,
We might see a big shakeup.
So here's
next
the thing
year.
about Ferrari is Ferrari. A lot of the reason people want to go to Ferrari, unfortunately,
the
as
nostalgia,
of
the
late,
history, and the
it's like we
prestige.
we talked about the same thing on it like a couple of podcasts ago or last podcast where we're like Ferrari's the team drivers want to say they were able to drive for. That's
But they also want to say they did well for.
That's like someone who likes baseball and they want to play for the Yankees. You know what I
Fuck
mean?
the Yankees.
Like
Everyone wants to play for
historic
the
team.
yeah, or
Best
like
team in
historic
baseball.
or whatever team. I would say the Yankees or the whatever team was in your hometown. Like if you grew up.
Looks like he's biting a lemon.
Yeah.
Like
if
best
you
fans in
grew up,
baseball.
It's like that.
St. Louis
Who'd you
Cardinals.
say from the Seahawks that you want to play for the Raiders?
Yeah, God, who
Marshawn
was that?
Lynch or
Marshawn
whatever?
Lynch, yeah. He came out of retirement to play one season with the Raiders because the Raiders was his team.
That was his home team. Yeah, I get it.
When they went to Vegas or when they were still in Oakland?
No, it's still in Oakland.
Yeah.
Because he's from Oakland.
Oaktown.
Oaktown.
So I think that but Ferrari's kind of losing that appeal. I mean,
Ferrari
sure.
is losing.
Well, yeah, if they don't get
Yeah.
their shit together soon, it's not going to be the desired team to play. Nobody wants to play for a losing team. No one wants to play for a team that has poor management, doesn't know
but
how to admit they're wrong.
You're also talking about there are 20 people in the world that do this job, and every single one of them has that mentality of I want to be the champion, I could win, and they're like, yeah, give me a shitbox car and I could fucking. They're like, oh, I guarantee there is behind Leclerc at least 15 other drivers that are like, fuck yeah, I could do way better than Leclerc Ferrari.
Well, everybody.
Sure, but I think you're all also limited or helped out by your car,
And the other thing too is the other thing that buys you seats in F1, different teams, we've noticed from Drive to Survive, is money. And Sergio Perez is the only Mexican driver out there and comes with a shitload of sponsorship money because of that.
An entire country's worth. A rich country. Mexico is not a poor country.
Yeah. And I understand that okay, Charles Leclerc is the only Monegasque driver. He's the only driver from Monaco driving for them right now. But he's fucking tired. You could tell he has aged from driving Ferrari.
And so
Ferrari has fucked him royally.
Oh yeah.
If you ask me. They've bent him over and just had their way. And he's just had to sit there and deal with it.
You're not wrong. But if you want to look at it on a GDP kind of scale, Monaco not really contributing a lot to the world.
No,
it's a vacation. It's a resort country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all tourism money.
That's
natural resources except for caviar,
a racetrack,
a place to
also any
yacht,
country that still has
casino.
royalty. I don't consider. I shrug you off. I don't consider you until you. No,
like England.
Yeah, they're still
They're still they're
you're
a
still
dirt
propping up
country.
this family for no reason. I don't get it.
Hey, we have royalty in this country, Dave. They're called the Earnhardts.
Well, I don't get it. Quit
They're
propping
called the
these fuck
Bush
up. Yeah.
Bushes.
No.
The Andretti's.
All right. Well, that's
They're
a
the
whole nother
Winstons.
podcast in
They're
itself.
the
Haas,
Anheuser
yeah.
Bushes.
There's the Philip Morris.
Yeah.
There's
There's the Brownings.
All right. Jesus Christ.
There's the
There's
Colts.
the Anheuser Busch Company.
Don't even get me started
Hey.
on the Hatfields and the McCoys.
There's Walmart, Comedy Central.
There's the Walmarts, the Baron Walmart.
There's Colt and Ruger.
Oh,
And
Winchester,
Browning,
Ford.
Hmm.
We're just getting the black and white flag.
Yeah.
Hey, you tell me
black
there
and
ain't no
white flag.
royalty in this country. I take
Both of you.
you out in the
Track
parking
limits.
lot and fight you for saying that.
You're speaking against my kin, and I
Mhm.
don't appreciate it.
You're
So,
speaking.
we're in the
you-
news,
You
right?
damn you spit
Yeah,
on
moving on to the
Grandpappy's.
news.
You spit on Grandpappy's grave for saying that.
You know what? You know what?
What?
Knock knock.
Who's that?
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, go fuck you. Hey, you
Go
know
fuck
what?
you.
Speaking of go fuck yourself and fuck you, that is a good transition to a quick little news story that I read. Would it be a surprise to you guys at all that the people of Las Vegas are not real thrilled with all the work that's going into a racetrack for there right now?
Are you
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about the citizens that live there for their daily lives?
Yeah, because they are repaving the strip with asphalt that will be okay for a race car, and they're building the paddock off of the strip.
I'm
Like,
sure it's a nightmare right now.
It's
I bet
probably
it's
a
a-
fucking nightmare.
it's a fucking nightmare. Like, I feel bad for them and everyone. But the news story that I was reading, they're like, but F1 is going to bring in, like, they think over $1 billion for that race in revenue.
Probably.
So I'm not surprised. I mean,
And
I got a buddy
that's
that
what it
lives
does
in
for
Las
Austin.
Vegas.
Yeah.
I'll ask him
So here's
how
the
it's
thing.
affecting him.
Unpopular opinion. If you as a person decide to live in a fucking desert town, you just need to expect to not have an easy life.
That's
It
true.
doesn't matter what Vegas, fucking Scottsdale, any place in Arizona, Eastern Oregon, if it's a like New Mexico, let's not even talk about New
It's
Mexico.
gonna be a hard
But-
life, man.
yeah,
If you're like, I'm gonna go live in the desert, and you're like, oh, my life's hard for whatever reason, go fuck yourself. You knew it was gonna be. No one chooses to live in the fucking desert. They
No,
get told
first of
to
all,
live there.
collect your own
So-
water then.
yeah.
Yeah, go
Also-
collect your own water from the fucking rain.
And
the rain.
you're done. Exactly.
Yeah, real quick before we have to cut this one and come back to it. As for comparison, F1 they think is going to bring in $1 billion in revenue. And a couple months later, in January of 24, they're going to have the Super Bowl down there, and they think $600 to $800 million. So this one night is supposed to bring in more than the fucking Super Bowl. Yeah, so do I. Okay, so do we want to talk about like not conspiracy theory corner, but like if you do yoga and you stretch to try to reach both sides of the room, you might make a difference. Cool.
Corner.
All right, let's go to the way back machine really quick. So for those of you that are new to Formula One, hang on. For those of you that have been watching Formula One for a long time, you might understand some of this. This also happened before I was watching Formula One heavily. I just know the names of some of the people involved.
Not necessarily. I was making you watch some races at this point.
Yeah, kind of. So back in 2008, okay, let me back that up really quick. There is a petition out there to try to, not a petition, Felipe Massa, who in 2008 was driving for Ferrari, is trying to get he's hiring lawyers to try to get the world champion of that year overturned. It was Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton won by 1 point. Now, the battle between that, or what happened, doesn't have anything to do with like, a bad call that went in Hamilton's favor. It goes back to the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix, and it was Fernando Alonso and Nelson Piquet Jr. were both driving for Renault, and Renault was not doing that hot that season. So in order to give a race like a win or a bump to Fernando Alonso, he came in and pitted early, and then Nelson Piquet Jr. crashed at a really shitty spot on the Singapore track that would have caused a safety car, and then everyone would have had come in and pit, and then Fernando Alonso would have gotten really good track position, which is what happened. Fernando Alonso, I don't think he went on to win. He might have won the race, but I don't remember. So anywho, what come to find out that an investigation happened, because a lot of people were like, well, that was really weird how that went in Fernando Alonso's favor so well, to the point that like lawyers were brought in, like the FIA had brought in lawyers, and they were interviewing Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso was cleared on it. He had no idea what had happened. But it had come out that they did in fact ask Nelson Piquet Jr. to intentionally crash his car there. And then
I saw like footage of that.
Yes. And then the team principal for Renault and someone else tried to cover it up, and it wasn't Berlusconi. Who was the Bernie Eccleston, who was like the president, like the head of CIA.
F1 president, yeah.
Yeah, at the time, knew that if this story had broken, it probably would have ruined F1. So they kept it way under wraps. Like Renault had kind of pleaded guilty to it. They weren't allowed to compete for 2 years, but they could keep racing. No one went to jail. A fine was paid, and it was swept under the rug. And then Felipe Massa ended up losing the championship by 1 point that year. So he's hiring lawyers to see, because in an interview, Eccleston had, like I said, admitted, like, yeah, we did that. We covered it up. It would have been really bad for F1. Felipe Massa is trying to get the results of that race thrown out, just deleted from the championship and all that year, in which case he would have then had an advantage over Lewis Hamilton, so it would have retroactively made him the 2008 world champion.
Right.
Which would have brought Lewis Hamilton, instead of tied for 8 world champions with
Seven
world champions with Michael Schumacher, he would be down to 6. I don't want that to be a fuck you to Lewis Hamilton, but if F1 covered up some shit they should not have done in the first place, he really fucked over Felipe Massa in that point. That was his only chance for the title, was that year. Like,
like Hamilton probably had nothing to do with it, so they really fucked him over too.
It did fuck him over too. Yeah, he had nothing to do with that. He was just racing like every other guy out there, and then strategist and politics get involved, and
it was all Renault, and it was Nelson Piquet Jr. and like he didn't have an F1
who was the brother
career.
of Verstappen's current squeeze.
Yeah, his current, and it was her dad is the one that went
casual
on
racist,
some
casual racist
things about Lewis
Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton. So that's it. If that happens, that could kind of shake things up a little bit. It would be a little unprecedented as far as F1 goes. We haven't seen anything like that in the past.
I mean, it would make Schumacher the greatest F1 driver of all time again, which is
no, it would just put him at the most world champions. Hamilton still has some records on Schumacher.
Yes, he does. But it would be a good win for Felipe Massa. He was a really good driver too.
Exactly. And, to see, I mean, if he was robbed out, I mean, I want to see credit where credit is due, and let's honor the guy that officially won that year.
Right.
But whatever. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the points back then were a lot different than they are right now, because Hamilton won the championship with 98 points.
Yeah, and it was not 23 races.
No, I don't. Let's see. It was I'll tell you how many races there were in a minute. But we're talking like, the top two guys were 98, 97. I mean, fuck. Nowadays, drivers get up to like almost 400 points in a season.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just a way different ballgame than it was now. I mean, even like that to go on that, it was like Max Verstappen last year when they were talking about him. He had like the record for the most wins in a season, and he had beat Schumacher in doing that. He's like, well, we
Yeah.
race more
Yeah, we
than
raced more.
they used to.
In
you
08,
know?
there was 18 races on the calendar.
Yeah,
That was
I bet they're
after.
Yeah, so there's
After-
like 5 more races now. Well, 3 more races now.
In 08 was
Yeah.
after Schumacher was done, so.
um,
But
so,
it's
yeah,
kind of weird to
we'll-
like look back at this and see like, some of the teams that are on there that are, not there anymore, like Sauber BMW or when Scuderia Toro Rosso was a team when they were buying
Well,
their engines from Ferrari.
I mean, how many
Yeah.
of those have morphed into other teams though, instead of just
Oh, all of them. Oh,
yeah,
really?
and like it was Jordan, but it had Red Bull stickers on it.
Yeah, so Sauber BMW is Mercedes now. And Scuderia Toro Rosso is AlphaTauri.
Jordan became Red Bull. I don't can't remember
No,
exactly.
Jordan. No, Red Bull bought their team from Jaguar.
Yeah, but before it was Jaguar, it was Jordan.
Yeah, but
And then there was the Minardi F1 team, and that became Toro Rosso.
And this has been your corner of the history of F1.
Yeah,
so in
F1.
08, the teams were Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Sauber, BMW, Renault, Toyota, Toro Rosso, Ferrari, Red Bull, Renault, because we used to buy. They finished sixth in 08. Jesus Christ, Red Bull did. Williams, then Honda, Force India, and Super Aguri.
Force India became Racing Point, and
Which
then
became
now they are Aston Martin.
Aston Martin.
What was the controversy? It was when they were Force India, right? And the guy
Yeah,
that owned it was
the
like,
main guy who we could probably do a deep dive on him because that's a really fucked up story. He yeah, he's like I think it was like a Ponzi scheme he was a part of.
yeah, I think so.
And
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
The Indian version of a Ponzi scheme,
Yeah.
which is just a Ponzi scheme.
a Ponzi scheme for rupees instead of dollars.
Good catch. Good catch. So let's talk about some more concrete news stuff. So this is kind of like, relatively hot off the presses.
Hot off the
but-
presses.
Yeah.
Newsflash.
As of 7 hours ago, F1 have officially agreed to a partnership with Paramount Plus. So what that means is if you have a Paramount Plus subscription, you will then in 2026 get all of your F1 races on Paramount Plus. Live, recorded if you got the on-demand thing, I'm sure. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but as far as live broadcasts go, Paramount Plus is going to be the way to get it.
I am 100% on board with this as long as they don't fuck with my F1 TV and my international. I could still.
I don't think they
listen
will
to
because
Crofty and
really,
all that. I still want to hear my Sky Sports commentary.
right. I like
But
Sky Sports
I think
commentary.
F1 TV is
Yeah.
always going to be around, and then this is just another little branch.
Yeah,
Well, so
this
what
is like
happens is you have like so the TV crew that's there that films all the turns and the straightaways and all that stuff, that's an F1 TV crew. And what you do is you buy rights to use that footage. So the live feed that you're seeing on the TV is the same live feed that the spectators see on the
Commentators are seeing.
Jumbotrons. Yeah. And well, it's the spectators that see it on the Jumbotrons they have,
Oh,
so you
yeah,
know what's
yeah,
happening on the other side of the track. So if you watch stuff on F1 TV right now, and then you go and watch it, which is like the Sky Sports feed. If you go and watch it, like I don't know, whatever channel they use in Germany or whatever, it's the same shots. Same shots in Mexico, same shots in Japan, Australia, whatever. But you're just the companies are buying the rights to
Gotcha.
use that
The
stuff. And
footage. Yeah.
exactly. And ESPN has been the F1 big player for
Affiliate
a
in
long time.
North America.
Yeah, long ago was MSNBC Sports was a big F1 thing. That's Tyler and I were watching a lot on MSNBC Sports.
Oh yeah, NBCSN, and it has
NBCSN, yeah.
Yeah, I
It
came in
wasn't-
watching live races on ESPN. That's when I first caught a live race.
Yep. Live
Their
race
whole
on ESPN. But
it wasn't lights out and away we go. It was, and it's time to bring the action.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
Here
lights
we
out and away we
go.
go.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah,
I need my Crofty and Brundle.
It's so lights out and away we go is such a good way to start an F1 race.
Yeah,
It is the
it's
only way.
yeah.
perfect way to do it.
but it was set up like they had the same setup. Like they had a guy that was an F1 driver. They had another dude who had just been calling races, and then I think they had a guy who must have been like an engineer or something because he knew like all the technical specs of everything.
Well, and yeah,
That's how like
I
what's
think
his
it was an
name?
old racer that was on there.
Yeah,
Karun Chandok. What's that? Is that his name? I feel
Yeah.
like he knows
Oh.
everything technical about F1. The dude is
Mhm.
just like a genius. I love
Yeah.
when they talk to him.
I think he
I
has
like-
some racing experience, but
Oh yeah,
I don't know
he was
to
a
what-
racer. Yeah, he raced in
Yeah.
F1.
So
he knows his shit.
yeah,
Karun Chandok, is that his name?
yeah, that is.
something like that. Anyway,
So
yeah, I don't know.
ESPN's contract for broadcasting the F1 stuff ends in 2025. So Paramount Plus is going to come onto the scene to be the US how you watch the stuff or whatever in the same year that they're introducing new motors to all the cars
Yeah, we're getting Audi.
and a new team. Yeah, Audi.
Yeah.
So
It's,
it'll be a
2026
very
is going to be a big
yeah.
shakeup.
It's
Yeah,
going to be a big thing. Yeah.
interesting. It's going to be like the new body styles that happened in 2022. It's going to be like, oh man, it's going to be a big shakeup. Everything's going to be different.
I think I'm actually going because we have Paramount Plus. I think we're and if we still have it in 2026, I think I'm going to force myself to watch, maybe one of the American GP ones. So Austin, Vegas, or Miami. I'm gonna watch one of those live on
Just see
that
what
just to
their
kind of
broadcast is
just kind
like.
of check it out, see what it's like.
Well, I'm shit
I
by
might too.
26. They'll probably have like a fourth US race.
It'll
too.
be like
Yeah.
like half the races are in the US.
Yeah, it's gonna be like new IndyCar.
Right.
Oh,
It's-
Jesus.
the US is just going to do the same thing it always does, is just take over the sport, get so popular. And that's going to be F1, and then it's going to be F1E for F1 Euro, and it's going to be like everyone else is like, let's get back to the roots,
That's like a
It'll be
big
F
fear of
It'll be
mine.
F1, but spelled FONE.
I don't. Oh Jesus, I don't want it to be too
Um,
Americanized. Let's keep it international. I like the way it is. Don't Americanize this
Right.
shit.
I mean, it's like you can have 4 races, like 3 races here, but I'm still sure that like Saudi Arabia is paying like a fuckload more money than we are. So like they
Oh,
have
yeah.
whatever race
yeah,
they
yeah,
want.
yeah.
for sure. I mean, if you look at where the races are right now in America, there's a lot of fucking money in each one of those cities. I mean, Miami's
Yeah,
a very rich town.
yeah.
Austin's
Yeah.
a very rich city in
Yeah, they're not
Texas.
racing in
They're-
fucking Waco, Texas.
Yeah, they're
and,
not
like,
Waco. They're not racing in Rhode Island. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Vegas
they're
is just
racing in-
nothing but money. So
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
god damn it. Although it's gonna be a spectacle. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, so spectators watching shit. Let's talk about stuff to not do when you're an F1 fan.
Yes.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do this. Let's cover this. Let's
So-
spread this around.
Let's
I want
spread this.
us to-
Let's
I want us
have.
to-
We're gonna go to the etiquette nook. We're going to
I like it.
etiquette nook.
The etiquette nook. I like
The
it.
Let's go to the
etiquette
etiquette nook. F1 decided to ban teams from celebrating on the fences And F1 fans decided by celebrating, they ran on the track too early while they were
way
The
too
race
trying to.
was still officially happening.
Yeah, well, because Nico Hulkenberg, the only Haas F1 car to finish the race, broke down on the last lap. So his car was stricken out on the track, and there were fans trying to rip pieces of carbon fiber off of it while they were trying to load it onto a fucking tow truck.
Because
You know what?
Australians are just savage.
This is actually like Americans aren't the worst people on the planet.
Australians are the Americans of the Southern Hemisphere. Like
no, that's like something you'd think would happen in the U.S., but it didn't happen in the U.S. That happened in Australia. It's like, they're just like us.
Having the
they're just like
F1
us.
races in Detroit because the cars lined up on bricks.
Yeah, I was saying, like, and I've like had friends tell me this too. Like, Australia is the America of the Southern Hemisphere.
It is
like,
the American.
If you listen to Australians talk, there's no difference
thing there. People build 10,000 horsepower cars just to blow tires off them in the skids competition, which is a burnout.
I heard
if you're uninitiated.
I watched a TV show from Australia, and this guy was complaining about a dude he worked with from New Zealand. He's just like, I don't fucking care where you're from, just don't talk shit about Australia. And I was like, I've heard that before.
Right.
I have heard that in that whole sentence structure I have heard in this country before.
Yeah, we had Australian fans like ripping FIA like rule things off of the. It's so funny. You can see the look around, and then like they tug on it and look around again. And they like rip it off the fence. It's like I think it was like a safety car.
No, it wasn't.
Like,
I was going to frame it by saying this. What was how many detection zones did you say were in Albert Park?
4.
Or how many DRS zones? 4?
4.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 next year because they ripped one of the things that makes it a detection zone off the fucking fence. And these guys just ripped it off and took it with them.
I know, just left with it. Just like so fucking ballsy.
You know what's crazy though? I mean, it's like you got a track that's what, like 2 to 3 miles long.
It's
and you're trying to
3.2 miles long.
You're trying to fucking corral fans at all corners of this track with fucking security that's probably paid peanuts. Like, come on.
Because you're Australian.
Yeah. You played him like, all right,
it'll grow.
You get your 3 Fosters, you get your 3 shift Fosters, and then like that's it.
We'll pay you $28.50 an hour, or we give you a pan of peanuts. Oh,
well, hey,
crikey. Yeah. I'll take
the
peanuts.
The tire preference podcast, fucking, what do you call it?
The good get.
The good get is stay the fuck off the track.
Don't
allowed on the track.
I don't mean to like, be weird or nothing, but the good get. I think the official tire preference podcast code of etiquette is to stay off the track until they
let you on,
like until they let you fucking on. We're not savages here. It's a society. Yeah, we live in a society, people.
This is what separates us from the animals. I think the official tire preference podcast good get is going to be Fernando Alonso.
Max Verstappen. Oh.
Fernando Alonso. Everyone that's not Carlos Sainz that finished the race is going to get the official tire preference podcast good get of the week.
Yeah.
So, speaking of fan etiquette, something has come up that fans are doing to a certain I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like, all joking aside,
I don't know if I've heard this.
This is shitty. Just don't do this, okay?
Let's be real, this applies to none of our fans because none of you can afford to go to this
none of you can afford to do this. And that's not like being elitist because none of us can afford to do this either. No. So but look, what happened was Charles Leclerc's real address got leaked on the internet, and now fans are showing up at his house constantly to show support. They are
to show support. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so on the one hand, great, my fans are here. On the other, It's my fucking house. And if there's one thing that when I get off work I don't want to see is a crowd of jabronis outside of my fucking apartment in Monaco.
Well, also you live in
Yeah,
Monaco,
holding up
which is
pieces
like
of like your broken
12
F1
square
You're broken
cars.
F1 car, yeah. One of the
Yeah, they want you
fans
to
that set
sign.
themselves on fire because they're dressed up like an F1 car.
Yeah, your fans are so upset they're gonna self-immolate outside of your apartment.
It's so
like the cover of the fucking Rage
it's
Against the
so
Machine
fucking dumb.
album.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a monk in I think it was in Vietnam. It was a Vietnam thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like right around the time of Vietnam, I think.
Wow, dude, that was the quickest.
That was
Yeah.
Oh no,
5
it's
minutes into the tangent.
that was just clearing off smoke.
Oh, okay.
What are you doing with your black and white flag?
Yeah. Use your hand like a man.
Yeah.
It works better.
Turn on that bladeless fan in the back. Jesus Christ.
It makes noise. I'm trying to
It's
give the best
bladeless.
quality podcast I can give, guys. Come on.
Right. Well, getting back to it, so look, as an official, we've been doing this a lot this podcast, official tire preference podcast decree. If you find out the address of your favorite sports star and you know exactly where they live, don't fucking go to their house.
No, you
Don't
ignore it.
do
You lose that. You don't need that.
You
Yeah.
don't need they don't want it. They're people too. Okay.
They're fucking people.
Their
If
job
you find out you're their neighbor, just wave.
They're
Just
normal
wait,
folk, man. They
right?
take out their trash, they get their mail, they go grocery shopping.
Yeah,
They're people.
right.
Leave 'em alone.
If you literally live next to one of the greatest sports stars of place your sport here, loan them some sugar sometime.
Yeah.
Give them a wave. Say
What you do is you be
What up,
super
neighbor?
nice, very friendly, and then you can get in, and then they invite you to their pool parties.
They might invite you over to watch a race.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if it gets to that point, calm down.
So they're
Breath.
living
Don't
in
ask them a shitload of questions.
that's our little tangent on helping people. Like, if you find the address, if it's leaked to you, don't be one of those jabronis who goes to their fucking house. Just treat them like people.
Leave them
Just-
alone.
It's real easy to do.
Yeah.
Catch them
Don't
on
be
the
a dick.
track.
You
or
like-
out, on race
you
weekends
like
when
being-
the time is proper.
Right.
You
If,
like
if,
being
if
ignored when you're at home. I like the solitude of being at home. Let them have that too.
Exactly.
imagine you're watching like Bob's Burgers or some shit, and you get done with an episode, and you're like, man, I could use a tall boy. So you decide to get dressed, cruise on down to the local tall boy, whatever, 7-Eleven, gas station, whatever the fuck. And you buy the tall boy and you go home and you continue to watch Bob's Burgers and you're having a tall boy and it's the greatest thing in the world. Now, imagine that you do the same thing, but the second you leave your house, there's a fucking crowd of people that are staring at you in your too small comfy shirt and sweatpants trying to get into your fucking car. And then you
You're
gotta drive.
small, comfy shirt.
You're trying to drive to the goddamn 7-Eleven and they're chasing you down the road on foot or in their own vehicles to follow you in there to watch you buy the Milwaukee's best tall boy, thinking that there's plenty of better options of the thing, but this is craving you for some reason. Maybe you buy a bag of blue Takis, whatever, take it back home. They're still following you. And now it's on Instagram. They know the weird snacks you like. And it's just not, that would suck, right? So just don't do
But
that to
it's
another
also-
person.
You're also signing up for that being an F1 driver.
Yeah,
Are
if you're
you?
famous,
It's a
like-
double-edged sword, man. It's like
Yeah.
it comes with the territory.
So if you're famous, they should know your home address and bug
No,
the
no,
fuck
no,
out of
no.
you.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, so maybe not sign. That's not something you sign up for. as an
No,
F1
that's
driver.
not. But the attention.
Well, maybe
is
if you
something
had won
sign up
another
for.
race or two, you could afford a place that would have like a gate and some space between the front gate and your house. Just saying.
Well, you can't buy that at all in Monaco. Doesn't
You-
matter the amount of money you have.
No, you
You
do
absolutely
not.
sign up for the attention. But as far as
Sure, but
crazy
keep it on
fans
the
and stuff, I mean,
weekends.
that's you
Keep it
gotta
on the
just- I
track.
mean,
Keep it on the
you just
track.
gotta hope people aren't nuts, man. Yeah, there's crazy people out there
Mhm.
that suck.
Ugh.
So I don't draw attention to myself, man.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on a
So
podcast.
Low key.
You can
Yeah,
find
Jake's on a
anybody-
podcast where his
find
fucking
podcast.
his camera doesn't work, so no one can see what he's looking like.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm not. This shit's got to end. We need a camera on you, Jake.
I'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Just for my own personal, like,
Right.
peace of
Well,
mind.
do
Yeah.
we have any other weird news things to talk
No, man.
about?
I think
Like,
that's it. I think that's what we
This,
got.
this couple of weeks have been crazy, so
Yeah.
I literally paid attention to nothing. Had to
Well,
watch all the highlights right before the podcast.
I think we're gonna get back to more of a normal schedule, but Dave still has a couple
We'll get there.
states he has to go
We'll
through.
get there. I still
to,
we got 2 weeks till we have to be where we're finally going to be in California. And once we get there, God willing, hopefully, Jesus, I get a good open shot of the sky so I can have some good
Mhm.
internet. Other than that,
Yeah.
2 weeks. I'll be by race weekend.
Mhm.
We'll be in a place.
Yeah. So the next podcast might just be us doing a review on the Azerbaijan.
I think Baku's the
Yeah.
next one, and then Monaco after
Azerbaijan.
that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe we can do a little podcast this week coming up
Ooh, after that's Coda.
right before.
Actually.
Ooh.
Oh,
No, it's not Coda. It's got to be Miami.
no,
Miami.
Miami's first. Miami's
It is
May.
Miami.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Coda's not till October.
Miami. I saw USA.
Yeah, they're all
It's one.
labeled just USA race.
Yeah.
Yummy. One more thing we need to talk about before we wrap up. Firmly in rumor corner, although this is a direct
Firmly.
quote from this character, so I don't know, we'll see. But the FIA has come out with a whole new host of rules, which they've put out in detail, but we can kind of go into detail later at another time. Because I mean, there's just not enough time in the day to do all the research for one of these podcasts. Because Jesus Christ, we all do day jobs and blah this and blah that. But basically, they're gonna change like a bunch of the sprint stuff, and Max Verstappen is not happy, and he goes, "Look, if you do this shit, I am fucking leaving."
Yeah. Okay. Totally
Right.
believe that.
Well, it's straight from the horse's mouth. So
So what? They're like more sprint races or what? What's the?
again, a lot of the details I can't go into right now, just because I don't know them fully myself, and I don't want to sound like a fucking idiot more than I do. So, but
So Max
I
might be out if the if F1 continues on the path it's on.
yeah, I remember reading, and it was very very confusing. It was something like um I think the way, and I again, this is going to be extremely confusing, but I'm pretty sure what I saw was the way the weekend's going to shake out is Friday, there's a qualifying session. And that qualifying session sets the race order for the Grand Prix. And then you have a sprint. You have another qualifying session for the sprint race. So it's almost like there's two races in one weekend.
That
It
seems
gets a
kinda
little,
dumb.
yeah.
It's wonky as fuck. And
The sprint makeup they had coming in seemed about as complex as it had to be. I think it was
Yeah.
fine.
I miss the days when we had a podcast last year where we're like, oh, they changed the sprint thing where it's so complicated. If you qualify the top three for the sprint, then you get the credit for getting on, qualifying pole position, even if you
So
don't win it for the race.
so
I remember that
so
when that was
pole
most confusing.
position isn't decided by qualifying, it's decided by the sprint race.
No, it's so the way the new rules will work is there's a qualifying for the Grand Prix and there's a qualifying for the sprint, and the sprint and the Grand Prix are almost two different races happening on the same weekend.
That's too much.
It's
Yeah,
too
that's
much.
that's
It's
a
too
lot.
much. Yeah. The
But,
sprints
you
were a
know,
cute idea the way they are, and I don't mind them being sprinkled about. I
Yeah,
don't want to
sprinkle
see
the
a
vows.
sprint every fucking weekend.
No, because I like
but
a
sprinkle them
traditional.
out to spice it up. It's kind of fun.
I like a good race
Yeah.
weekend. You get practice 1, practice 2, practice 3, qualifying, race. I like
Yeah.
that
Right.
setup.
I mean, they've
But
only
I
been
do
doing it
like-
for 50 fucking years, so.
Yeah, but I do
I mean, the
like we said,
occasional sprint
sprinkled
is
in-
fun.
This
Oh,
occasional
yeah.
sprint is fun. It's a little bonus for the weekend.
It's
Yeah,
like a
it is-
bonus weekend.
But I don't want to see it every weekend.
It's
No.
better for weekends that are after a long break. It's like we get 2
Exactly.
races
Yeah.
in
Get
before.
people back into it. Like, oh, hey, here we go. We're going to start it off with a sprint.
Right.
Yeah, and it's select tracks too. Like a sprint at Spa would be fucking sweet. But like
Oh,
a
that
sprint
would
at
be pretty split,
Interlagos
though.
would be fucking sweet.
but like
Yeah.
a sprint in Monaco, it's just
That's not worth
another.
it.
It's
No.
just another procession. The whole weekend's a
Right.
fucking
Another parade.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens if it does go through. This might be the last we see of Max. So
doubt it.
I
doubt
doubt it. He'll say things like that, but he's sticking around. Especially
You know what
he's
else I
winning.
doubt?
What?
That this podcast is going to last any longer than it is. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. This has been the Tire Preference Podcast. Again,
Hey-o.
I am Jake here with Tyler
Hi.
and Dave.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Yeah, Dave's here too. Super glad to be back. Thanks guys for listening to this podcast we had kind of put together. Again, we all know that it's been a long time between casts, but we're doing what we can. This is pretty, as we say, grassroots. This is really just 3 guys getting together, having a beer, and talking F1 stuff. And because of that, we cut lives on the outside, and that shit's just gonna come first. So,
And Dave's moving across country, and I am planning a wedding and purchasing a house this year. So
so there's a lot of big things in the works.
Well, until we
so-
start getting paid for this shit, it's taking a backseat to our lives. So
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Once
Sorry.
we start getting
Sorry,
some
fans.
dinero, I mean, it's you're not wrong. I mean,
yeah, we appreciate all of you, every single one of you that listens to the podcast and everything. But yeah, sometimes we just can't do it.
we
Yeah,
just
But
can't
we
do it.
appreciate you sticking it out.
Yeah.
exactly.
And we try making exceptions for race weeks, but when you got one of us moving across the fucking country, that
Literally across
yeah,
the fuck.
literally across
Key West to
in the
California.
process of currently, yeah.
It's a long route.
So, yeah, I think
Almost
like
3,000 miles.
like northeastern Maine is the only place that's like further away from fucking California in this country. So
Yeah.
It's a long drive.
yeah. So thanks again for listening. If you want to find us on the social medias, you can find me at the Red Kennedy 45 on Instagram, the Red Kennedy on Twitter. You can find the Tire Preference Podcast on Twitter at Preference Pod. You can find us on YouTube at the Tire Preference Podcast. You can find us on any one of your favorite podcast streaming services like Spotify, Apple, or whatever. Sorry, that was a struggle to get out, but I knew where I was going. I just didn't know how to get there. Yeah, it was a little hard. Any place you get podcasts, you can get it. So, best thing you can do for us, just most basic thing, is just give us a like, give us 5 stars, give us a comment. It really helps.
Rate and review. Yeah.
Rate
give us
and
those
review,
5
really helps.
stars. You don't even have to
Yeah.
say anything nice. You could say we're all a bunch of chodes. Those reviews just
Yeah, you
help.
could, or
Yeah.
tell us your favorite color. I really don't care. Yeah, give us that stuff. So, Tyler, if they want to follow you on the social medias, where can they find you at?
T.K.66 on Instagram. And that's it. That's
Yep,
the only thing I
and-
do.
Hey, Dave, where are you at on the internet?
I am Instagrams, both maximum_Dave and featuring next Friday, both of which are just pictures of what the fuck I do out in this country.
This wonderful country where
Yes.
they're good pictures. That featuring next Friday is a really good follow if you like travel. If you like seeing interesting views of the country, it's a great place to go check out. Share that with a friend. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and keep within track limits.
And I'm going to say, fuck the track limits, hit the gas. Just fucking mash it to the floor, pedal to the metal, and see where life takes you.
Most likely to your grave. So make sure you hit them breaking points.
Hits the breaking points. All right, you bastards. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for sticking around. We really, from the bottom of our hearts, really do appreciate you. So,
Yes, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
cue the music.
Goodbye.
Love
Let's
ya.
get the fuck out of here.
I know.